So, if you follow NBA media at all, you know that Nick Wright said something pretty stupid recently. And that should come as a surprise to no one, because Nick Wright's entire thing is that he says stupid shit like 24/7. For real, this man is the anti-Skip Bayless in views, but he is literally a Skip Bayless clone when it comes to talking out of his ass. This dude knows nothing about basketball, and it just makes me sad that he gets paid millions of dollars to talk about basketball. But me being jealous of people like Nick Wright and Skip Bayless is not what I'm here to talk about today. I want to talk about what Nick Wright said. And what he said is, Chris Paul should be the MVP for this season, and if Nikola Jokic was to win the MVP, he would be the worst MVP of the last 50 years. Now, both of those points are pretty ridiculous on the surface, but you know what? I'm going to do my due diligence, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to actually look at the stats, at the players, and decide, does Nick Wright maybe have a little bit of a clue what he's talking about? Plot twist, the answer is no. So let's get right into it. First of all, he said that Chris Paul should be the MVP over Nikola Jokic. Now, looking at the basic stats, this seems pretty ridiculous. Chris Paul is averaging 16, 5, and 9 on 49, 39, 93 splits. These are phenomenal numbers. However, Nikola Jokic is averaging 27, 11, and 8 on 56, 40, and 87 splits. He's averaging more points on more efficiency, way more rebounds, and only slightly less assists. So it seems pretty crystal clear from the stats that this is Nikola Jokic's MVP, right? He also happens to be leading his team. However, the argument for Chris Paul comes from the standings. The Suns are currently the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. The Nuggets are only the 4 seed. Chris Paul is the best player on the Suns. He's leading them to more wins. Therefore, he should win the MVP. However, the difference between the 2 seed and the 4 seed in the West is only 3 games. And considering there's only 3 or 4 games left in the season for each team, that's not going to really change. Like, they're probably going to remain the 2 and the 4 seed at this point, although the Nuggets could sneak into 3rd. But basically what I'm saying is, there's not going to be more than like 2 to 4 games separating these 2 teams. So it's not like the difference between the 1st seed and the 5th seed. That's a 10-game difference. But the 2 seed and the 4 seed, that's 4 games, yo. 3 games, actually, right now. That should not really be enough to decide an MVP if one dude is having slightly better stats than the other one. Or, I'm sorry, slightly more wins than the other one. Jokic is having significantly better stats. And I do not want to shit on Chris Paul here, okay? Chris Paul slander is ridiculous right now. I personally believe Chris Paul is one of the more underrated players in NBA history. People really go out here and say that Russell Westbrook is greater all time than Chris Paul, and it makes me want to scream every time because that is absolutely absurd to anyone who actually knows anything about basketball. But not here to shit on Russ today. Alright, he hit a big triple-double milestone the other day, became number 1 all-time in them. Not here to talk shit on Russell Westbrook. Trust me, I'm sure I'll find some time in the future, because I always do. Chris Paul is having a great season. He's a better defensive player than Nikola Jokic. He is a better passer than Nikola Jokic, which is really saying something because Nikola Jokic is the best passing center in NBA history. However, Chris Paul has an argument to be the best passer in NBA history, period. Now, I don't think he is. I would say right now he is 3rd behind Magic and John Stockton, but he really does have a case. He has the best assist-to-turnover ratio in NBA history. This season, he's averaging 9 assists to just 2 turnovers. The dude is incredible. However, he's not really doing as much as Nikola Jokic is. Jokic is averaging a lot more points. He, I believe, has a higher usage rate. He averages a lot more rebounds, and really, he just carries this team. Chris Paul has a better second option in Devin Booker on his team to help with the offense. Devin Booker does more scoring, he does a decent amount of the ball handling, a little bit of playmaking. Yeah, Chris Paul is more impactful for the defense, but once again, he's got Mikal Bridges there. It's not like he's not really carrying the team. He's the clear number 1, but he's not carrying in the way Nikola Jokic is, especially since for the last 6 weeks, Nikola Jokic has been missing his second best player in Jamal Murray. This is a borderline all-star level player, and even though Michael Porter Jr. has stepped up and he's been great, You can't just act like it doesn't matter that Jamal Murray has missed the end of the season and the Nuggets have kept winning. They've continued to win games, and the reason why is partially because Michael Porter Jr. has been a beast, but mostly because Nikola Jokic has been a beast like he has the entire season. He's still super efficient, he's still playmaking at an incredible level, his defense is still below average in my opinion, but it has improved from previous seasons, and he just runs this team's offense beautifully. The Nuggets should have fallen off a cliff when Jamal Murray went out. Instead, they continued rising. They actually snatched the third seed from the Clippers last week, even though they lost it again a few days afterwards. But that's crazy. Some people thought this team was going to fall to like 6th or 7th in the West. I thought they were going to fall to at least 5th. Okay, not going to lie. I thought the Nuggets were going to fall to at least 5th, but no. They have held on. They have a chance to finish the season as the 3rd seed, 1 seed behind the Phoenix Suns. Alright? With Jamal Murray being out. The playoffs don't matter for the MVP race, but I'm expecting an incredible playoff performance from Nikola Jokic. He leads the league in basically every single advanced stat that isn't defensive specific this season, which is ridiculous considering, once again, he's an average at best defender. Chris Paul's having a great year. He has a strong case to be the MVP in 2008, but he lost it to Kobe. He was a lower-level MVP candidate with the Clippers for several years. He carried last year. He was the second best player on the Rockets, who should have won the title in 2018. And this season, he does deserve to be an MVP candidate, but not a real one. He's not a top 3 candidate. I wouldn't have him over Embiid. I wouldn't have him over Giannis. I probably wouldn't even have him over Steph Curry, which means Chris Paul is currently my number 5 pick for the MVP this season. An incredible season for a dude who is now 35 or 36 years old. I'm not sure which. Let me check right now. Does it say it here? He's 36 years old. This man's 36 years old and he's an MVP. That's absolutely... Well, that's not true. He's 36 years old and he's an MVP candidate. You know what I'm talking about, y'all. The man's had an incredible career, but look, he's not going to be the MVP this year. And then as for Nick Wright's other point, that Nikola Jokic would be the worst MVP of the last 50 years, buddy, Nikola Jokic isn't even the last MVP of fuck, I can't speak today. Nikola Jokic would not even be the worst MVP of the last decade. This MVP season is better, in my opinion, than Steve Nash's, either of them, and it's also better than Russell Westbrook's MVP. So it is at the very least the 4th worst MVP of the last 20 seasons, and you can make a case for it over some other ones like Curry 2015 or D. Rose as well. Nikola Jokic is having a phenomenal season, so Nick Wright is, as usual, just talking out of his butt. Yes, Chris Paul has a little bit of a case, but to say that he should be winning MVP over Nikola Jokic, it's just silly. Come on, it's just silly. It's just something he made for clicks, and I'm actually kind of supporting him by making this video about it. But you know what? I want my clicks too. I understand Nick Wright. The difference is I try to give reasonable arguments to get people to watch my videos instead of whatever bullshit you spout. Let me tell you, I have some hot takes on this channel, okay? You all know it. You all know I have a lot of unpopular takes, but the takes I put in are takes that I actually believe in. Know that. Some of that, that may actually make some of you like me less because you think my takes are stupid, but I'm just letting you know. I may be a fool, but I'm an honest fool. Let me just leave it at that, alright? Thank you all for watching this video. Help me get those clicks up if you'd like the video. I'd really appreciate it. Subscribe, I'd appreciate it even more. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, unless your name is Nick Wright or Skip Bayless. 'Cause screw those guys.